Hi, my name is Macy and welcome to my channel. Your girl. So this is my first ever YouTube video, if you can't tell when you go to look at my channel, but I just wanted to, do commentary or do like video essays. I've always been interested in doing it, so this is my first video and I really hope you enjoy it. Today we will be talking about Dance Moms. Now, Dance Moms is a very popular show. It's just a group of mothers that are basically on this reality TV show and their daughters go and do a competitive dance. Now you're probably thinking, oh, that's like really simple and really easy and to the point, kind of like what is it called? Taller Than Tiaras, and then Bring It is another Lifetime show.
I do not raise brats. You are a monstrosity of evil.
At least you're honest.
Now your finger out of my face.
Don't you dare!
I do think that this show is probably worse than all of those shows combined. Because, well, first off, their dance teacher, Abby Lee Miller, crazy. That woman is actually crazy. I think she's insane. But Abby Lee Miller is an American dance instructor. Obviously, she is from Pittsburgh and she started Abby Lee Dance Company with her mom. The show started in 2011 and it ran to 2019. And after 2019, they were like, you can't do this anymore. You're done. You're done, Abby. And she's like, what? There's also a period in there when she went to jail. So when you go to jail, you kind of develop a bad reputation and everyone's kind of like, you're done. So she also had another show called The Madhouse, which instead of having like young dancers, it's all adults and they're all fighting for like her attention and for a spot to be like a really great dancer, I guess. I don't know why they would go on her show, but okay. Basically, it's a whole bunch of stuff, but she's a studio owner, obviously, and she creates such a hostile environment for those girls. Mind you, most of them when they started out were from the ages of like 2 to 5. Like that's when they started at Abby's company. And even when they didn't do the show, they said she still had a hostile way of teaching, which brought them like really negative experiences in dance, which is really heartbreaking because they did it for such a long time. And when you do it for a long time, the negativity, especially if it's like something that you really love doing, the negativity will eventually get to you, and which caused them to quit dance. Now, in 2015, she was charged with fraud. She was charged with the sentence and she was in prison for a year. And then in 2018, she was diagnosed with cancer and she had to go through surgery. She is now unable to walk and she uses like an electric wheelchair. Throughout this video essay, I'll be talking about how the girls experienced her racism, her body shaming, the favoritism, and just the general lack of care as the show continued to get more popular, and how she manipulated these girls into like just being her mold. Like she molded these girls into what she wanted to be until she realized that she just can't do it anymore, and that led to the girls quitting and then her going to jail, and it was a whole bunch of stuff. In this video, I will just be talking about the main 6. I might talk about the other students in like another video or something, but for right now I'm just talking about the original 6, which was Maddie, Mackenzie, Nia, Chloe, and then Brooke and Paige. So first we're going to start off with the golden child, Maddie Ziegler. Maddie Ziegler was Abby's favorite. I think a lot of people know that. She's a very talented dancer, might I add. She still is a talented dancer, but the way Abby put the word favorite on top of her head labeled that girl for life. And not because she wanted it, but because Abby wanted it. Whenever Maddie would dance, she was like, oh, it's the most amazing thing ever. Like, she's just talented, she's amazing, she's beautiful.
All of you need to look like her.
On top of the pyramid is Maddie. And the second person on top of the pyramid is also Maddie. This week, my eyes are going to be on Maddie. It's going to be her that gets the correction or her that gets reprimanded. You need to get into the groove, and you need to be my #1 girl out there every week again. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Once again, I counted on Maddie, and she won. Maddie, this is your year. This is your moment to shine. You're going to win everything. The moms, they're jealous of Maddie. This is Maddie's time to shine, and they don't understand that. So they're immediately jealous of Maddie. It's sickening. They worked a little bit harder. Maddie worked a whole lot harder. And they won. She won.
And throughout this show, you can just see how Abby's impact just ruined her. Because all Maddie wanted to do was be a good dancer. I think she said that before, that she just wanted to do dance. And then once the money rolled in, the sponsorship opportunities, and like all the trophies and the awards, Abby saw an opportunity to use that girl and take her. So Maddie started dancing at the age of 4, and then her sister started at the age of 2. Maddie was very serious about dance, and I think Mackenzie was just kind of like, it's something I can do, compared to her sister, who was like very all for it. And then Maddie joined Dance Moms at the age of 6 and Mackenzie at 4. They both danced at Abby's studio before Dance Moms even started. Now, Maddie herself said that she just kind of blocked out so much of the stuff in her childhood because she just didn't want to think about it. She doesn't even know what she's done. So when she goes back and watches videos, she's just like, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what any of this, like, I remember any of this. And it's kind of heartbreaking to think about how the entire country was just kind of like, oh, she's a brat. Like, she's annoying. Kind of like how a lot of people assumed Kendall was just a crybaby because, well, she cried a lot. But the way people treated Maddie was truly one of the craziest things I've probably, like, even as a kid, I was like, there's no way that's normal behavior from people. Like, they truly hated on this little girl because of what producers were telling her to do. So there was this one interview she had, I think it was near the end of her reign on Dance Moms, and she was like, I was just 7 years old when these people were telling me what to do and saying it on camera, and then the entire world just started hating me. That's very heartbreaking to hear from a child. So that's basically what went on with Maddie. And then the whole Sia thing, that's a whole different thing in itself. Now, I think Maddie left the show at 11, which means Kenzie had to leave at 9. And when I first watched the show, even now, I can't believe they're only 11 and 9. Like, it truly, it's kind of crazy to think about, but it's another way to, like, I guess, to, like, look at it and be like, Abby traumatized children. These weren't teenagers. These weren't adults. Children. Now, Mackenzie was 2 when she started dance, like I said. I think Mackenzie speaks more about her childhood because she's very fond of it. It's something that's stuck with her for a long time. Now, she said that they missed school often because of dance, and they got kicked out for it. So they had to go move to homeschool. She said that she just learned everything there. She apparently did 2 grades in 1 year. So I think that's how she graduated high school a little earlier than everybody. But Mackenzie speaks more about her family experiences than Maddie does with dance. And Mackenzie speaks about how her father was just not very present in her life. She always joked about having like daddy issues and stuff, apparently. And turns out that it was her reality. She just wanted him to come to the competitions, to dance and everything. And even then, when she was on Dance Mom, she was compared to her sister all the time. Or if there was a girl her age that came into the studio, she was consistently paired. Like when Asia came into the studio, how did I forget about Asia? Dang, now I gotta do her. But when Asia came into the studio, Abby continuously berated Mackenzie. She was like, be more like Asia, do improv like Asia, dance like Asia, where is your energy like Asia? And obviously Asia was like this very energetic, just outgoing, like, I'm good at dancing. She knew she was good at dancing. And I think Abby and even her mom were just kind of like, dude, Mackenzie, just be confident in yourself. And she was scared. I honestly think that Mackenzie's a great person, and I hope she knows that now. But yeah, it's just Maddie and Mackenzie, they didn't have the best experience on this show. A lot of these girls didn't, but I think Maddie suffered a lot behind the scenes that a lot of people just don't know about because it's reality TV. Half of it isn't real. And then Melissa, I think Melissa was scared. I think she was scared to leave. That's a personal opinion. I think she kind of looked at it as, my daughter's dancing and she loves to dance. I don't want to ruin something for her. But then when the Sia opportunity came and she realized what this show was doing to her kids, she was like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. Which was one thing I always like questioned. Like, how can these moms let their girls stay in this type of environment when obviously Abby is not the best person to be around? But I digress, and we're going to move on to the next one. Now, Chloe. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Chloe was Abby's least favorite. She did not like that little girl at all. I don't know what was Abby's hatred towards Chloe at all, but she couldn't stand that girl. And it's kind of depressing to think about because Chloe was a great dancer. She really was. It didn't matter how many times Chloe won, she wanted that girl to lose. Anytime Chloe did anything wrong, Abby would go on a rampage about it. It was truly one of the like craziest things I watched. Because when I was younger, I didn't watch Dance Moms the first like 4 seasons. I watched that season 5 and 6, and then I think I watched season 7. I just stopped at 8 because I didn't really care. But it was heartbreaking. Chloe spoke about how no matter how skilled she was, Abby would never treat her like a student or treat her like she cared. And she said it was kind of heartbreaking because it was a sport that she loved, but often it was so toxic that she couldn't even consider it as one of her own. And then everyone knows the famous Christy and Abby fight.
And your dad doesn't have the technique. She does.
No, you know what, Abby? That's on you. You are our technique teacher, and go ahead, say awful things about my daughter. Abby didn't care if Cameron won nationals. She wanted Cameron to beat Chloe, and she didn't. And Abby can't stand to lose. Those 5 kids in there put your fat name on the map.
No.
You were no one before these kids.
Why do you say that?
Because you think putting a couple kids on Broadway makes you someone? Guess who made you a household name? Them. Take a hike. She has more glass in her little finger at 13 than you have in that big fat body at 45.
Chloe, it's finished. Your kid's washed up.
How dare you? Do you know anything about that kid? No!
Where sorry, it's just crazy to think about. Like this is real life. This happened. But Christy and Abby were arguing after a competition. She was like, you want her gone? We're gone. We're leaving. And Abby was like, your kid's washed up. But in reality, Abby spoke about her lazy eye, which that's not the first incident that Abby has spoke about a child's body or their face or literally anything about them. They actually had an entire dance based on insecurities, but it wasn't just fake insecurities. It was the girls' real life insecurities that she drew on their bodies. She had no shame. She really didn't. And it's kind of, and looking back at it, that's kind of, I don't know, man. But Abby continuously berated this girl, saying that she was never as good as Maddie, no matter how many wins she had, no matter how good she was. It was just, she just couldn't stand seeing that little girl win. And it's kind of like, as a dance teacher, you should be proud that she's doing all this, that she's winning, that she's being good, but she just couldn't stand it. And thinking about it, that's really heartbreaking. But now she's a very bright girl. She's a woman, my apologies, but she's like in college. I forgot what school she's going to, but she is on it. A lot of these girls are now with bright futures. They're in college. They're doing great things. Like, it's pretty great, and it's amazing that they're doing that, especially after such a traumatic experience. But for Chloe, it was just, I think the entire experience for her was very negative, which is very heartbreaking to hear, especially for a sport that she loved so much. But just because of the dance teacher, it wasn't great. And then in season 7, when she makes a return, you can see how being with another dance team, it kind of opened her horizons to a different teaching experience. She's like, this is a lot more positive than when I was with Abby. I don't know why I stuck with her for so long. But that was Chloe's experience. Next we have Nia. I vouch with Nia so much for obvious reasons, but dude, imagine being the only African American on a dance show for, what was it, 6 seasons? Like 5-6 seasons until Cameron showed up. And then when Cameron showed up, that was it. It was a whole thing. I'll get into that into another video if I do one, but it was crazy. But like I said, she was the only African American on the show for years. She's an original on the show, yet she was never treated like one by Abby. Whenever Abby looked at Nia, all she really saw was race. Anytime Nia had a dance, it would either be African themed, hip hop, or like something relating to black culture. The first episode, Abby spoke about how Nia needs to be more in touch with her ethnic side, or how she likes giving her dances that are ethnic to her being African American.
Is my daughter the only one dressed in animal print? All the other girls get costumes that aren't typecasting them.
And you know what? I want her in an afro.
Now, I personally never watched a dance show where that was a dominant thing, but it's very apparent that Abby was racist towards Nia throughout the show, might I add. Like, it was, like, I don't want to say that, actually, no, I will say it. It was intentional. She didn't like that girl at all. I refuse to believe that Abby liked any of her like girls of color on that show, Nia nor Cameron, and both of them are very talented dancers, especially Cameron. She's dancing like Usher, but that's another episode. But Nia was just never treated like an original member. She was never treated like a member, period. She would never be given the opportunities that other girls were given. And then when she did get those opportunities from like other people, like when she started doing music and she released like a single, Abby just didn't support her. She was like, you're a backstabber for going to someone else when you should have went to me. Like, you're not a good person. And the relationship between her, Holly, and Nia just deteriorated. Like, Nia and Holly were like, we're going to do our own thing because you don't want to be supportive. That's where the whole Kendall music video thing started happening. And it was really a traumatizing experience for all of them, I assume. Especially Nia, who went through it. So just knowing that Abby put that type of pressure on that girl, it's truly heartbreaking to think about. Especially watching it as a young black girl, I was kind of like, I loved dance. I wanted to be a dancer. But then watching that, I was like, I'm never doing dance. I'm never doing dance. I'm sitting this one out. Like, it was really hard to sit through and watch. But Nia also goes to school. I think she goes to UCLA, and she's also an AKA. So that's pretty cool. But she now thinks of herself, she uses the negativity that she got to like get encouragement from her family, and she said that made her a better person. Now we're getting on to the last two. They're siblings, so they kind of go hand in hand. But we're gonna start with Brooke. Brooke was the older one. She's the older sister. She was very skilled too, considering she was the oldest of the group. She had more time to learn things. But yeah, she was the oldest of the competition team. The show made her seem like she was the most like moody teenager. She was just a rude teenager, when in reality it was kind of the opposite. She obviously had a very bright, big personality with the girls, or whenever she would do like confessionals. Like, she just seemed like she actually enjoyed living. Like, they made it seem like she just hated being there, but that wasn't true at all. But she was very skilled. She was very flexible. She had a lot of acrobatic skills, and she did a lot of tricks for her age too. But she also said she kind of wished she went into like a different dynamic of dance. And I think she got that when she went to the older dance team. But she had to put her back in there because I guess, I don't even know why she put her back in there. That might have to be another video. But yeah, she like noticed how the production team just kind of made her always seem like a negative person. She could have been smiling the entire time they were filming, and they would find the one moment she was frowning and put it in there. And that's imagine having a bunch of producers being like, you're just negative, you're a negative person, sorry. And she's like, that's not true. Her and her mom are like, that's not true at all, I don't know where you got that from. And they're like, oh, well, it's gonna become true, girl. I don't know what you're thinking, but it's gonna be a reality. So the entire time on the show, it just looked like she never wanted to be there, when in fact that was the opposite. Now moving on to Paige. This is the last one from the original cast. She sued her. She sued Abby. She sued her for the emotional stress and damage that caused her. During the show and after the show, she experienced a lot of panic attacks and anxiety because of the way Abby treated her. I can tell you right now, she's definitely not the only one. I refuse to believe that she was the only girl that experienced some type of anxiety or some type of fear from that woman, which is really heartbreaking to think about. Again, in 2014, the lawsuit was filed for Abby Lee Miller, and she was only 13 years old at the time. I think this happened maybe a year or two after they left. But Paige was a very outgoing girl. She was very happy, very smiley. Out of the entire cast, I think she was a very talented dancer, but I think her and Nia and maybe even Mackenzie were kind of on the same playing field. I don't know. I think her experience kind of hurt a lot, especially in the first season, because her, Abby, Kelly, and then Brooke, they were close because Kelly and Abby danced together. So it was close, and then as the show went on, it was just kind of seen as like a, oh, you're da 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 da, your mom's crazy, you're crazy, you're stupid, no. And that definitely traumatized her. And Kelly always stuck up for her kids, no matter what. She stuck up for other kids, she stuck up for her kid. There were some moments where you kind of have to look at her and be like, was that appropriate to say to a child? But I mean, for the most part, you can't really say anything bad about her. She had some moments where she was kind of like racist though, and I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I really don't think any of the moms on this show were bad, just not good. Oh, I could have talked about Kathy and Vivienne, but they weren't there for that long, and quite frankly, I don't care. They might be in another episode, who knows. I know Kathy will be in another episode, but for now we're gonna stick with the original. That's really it for this Dance Moms video. So yeah, I think that kind of summed it up well, especially when you think about their experiences. I might make another video because there's a lot more than what I said into the surface. There's a lot more under there that was not said, and it's just the way Abby treated those girls is genuinely terrible. And I think a lot of people like to criticize the moms for it, but I think in their head they're just like, I want the best for my kid. If she's happy, I'm happy. If she's learning something, she's learning something. If she doesn't want to leave, then we can't leave. And of course they have to contract anyways. But that's really it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. It's my first video, so if there's anything I can do better, you can of course tell me. And remember to follow me on Instagram and follow me on TikTok, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.